In the in the Vatican, the Borgias demonstrated that poison was one of the weapons of choice. When Alexei Navalny died on the 16th of February 2024 in the Arctic penal colony known grimly as the Polar Wolf, the official line from Moscow was depressingly predictable. A sudden medical event, natural causes, arrhythmia, nothing to see here. The world suspected otherwise, though. But suspicion is not proof. Now, more than a year later, Navalny's widow, Yulia Navalnaya, has confirmed what many feared. Her husband was poisoned in prison. Biological samples smuggled from Russia, analysed in two separate laboratories in different countries, have reached the same conclusion. Navalny was murdered, not felled by disease, not by accident, but by the deliberate use of poison. A coward's assassination. The poison is the tool of the coward. Let's recall that this was not his first brush with toxins. In 2020, he'd already survived a Novichok nerve agent attack attributed to Russia's FSB. He recovered in Berlin, returned to Moscow in an act of astonishing courage and heroism, was arrested the moment his plane touched down. His imprisonment and transfer to the Arctic Circle were calculated to break him physically and spiritually. They didn't succeed, so poison did. Poisoning someone who is already in prison, is already under detention, is already under the care of the prison regime. Yulia Navalnaya's testimony paints a grim picture. On the day of his death, he collapsed after exercise, suffering convulsions, vomiting, and agonizing pain. Guards allegedly watched him writhe through the bars of his punishment cell. An ambulance was delayed for 40 minutes. Surveillance cameras, of which there were 63 in his block, mysteriously recorded nothing. His mother was told he died of sudden death syndrome. It's a phrase chilling in its emptiness. And this pattern should sound familiar. The Kremlin has long treated poison as a political weapon. Well, they're all cowards. Alexander Litvinenko in London, killed with radioactive polonium in 2006. Sergei Skripal and his daughter in Salisbury, attacked with Novichok in 2018. Even Trotsky, struck with an ice pick in Mexico in 1940, would recognize the method, not battlefield justice, but assassination dressed up as misfortune. Poison leaves a mark of cowardice. A leader too fearful to face his rival, preferring instead to hide murder behind the sterile mask of medicine. What is striking now is not merely that Navalny was poisoned, but that laboratories have confirmed it, and yet political leaders and institutions remain hesitant to speak. Yulia Navalnaya has challenged the labs to publish their results, accusing Western officials of suppressing an inconvenient truth for political reasons. Diplomacy, she implies, is being purchased at the price of justice. That is why her moral authority matters. I will not be silent, she declared. Putin killed my husband. This is not a lawyer's brief, it's a widow's indictment, and it resonates because Navalny himself represented something larger than an individual, a symbol of hope that Russia might still have a democratic future even after suffocating authoritarianism. With his death, Russia lost its last towering opposition figure. His anti-corruption foundation is now fractured. Many of his allies are in prison or exile. Inside Russia, public protest is now impossible, near impossible. Navalny's funeral, which drew thousands in Moscow despite threats, was the last moment of visible defiance. Since then, silence. The regime believes it has achieved what it wanted, decapitation of the opposition, but history rarely obeys the designs of tyrants. Navalny's name is still etched into the canon of political martyrs. He joins a tragic lineage that includes Václav Havel's comrades in Czechoslovakia, Jan Palach, who set himself aflame in Prague in 1969, or Andrei Sakharov in his long exile. Navalny's death may not have sparked an uprising, but it's created a moral wound that will not heal. And the question, I suppose, that should be asked is this: Did democratic opposition in Russia die with Alexei Navalny? Some will say yes. Putin is entrenched, his critics silenced, his wars prolonged, but others will recall that the blood of martyrs, though spilled in silence, has a way of becoming the seed of new movements. Navalny's widow insists she will carry on his fight. I have no legal grounds, she says, but I have moral grounds, and that is the heart of the matter. A state can falsify death certificates, destroy CCTV footage, block investigations it cannot erase moral grounds. Navalny's courage, his sacrifice, and now his widow's resolve stand as testimony. In life, Navalny brought millions onto the streets of Moscow with his investigations into corruption. In death he leaves behind not only grief but a warning to the world. Poison may silence a man, but it cannot silence the truth of why he was targeted, because he showed Russians that corruption had a name, a face, an address. So, let's put it plainly. Navalny was murdered, poisoned, imprisoned under the eye of the Russian state. The laboratories know it, his widow knows it, now history knows it and will record it. The Kremlin's silence is itself an admission, and so we face the sobering reality. Russia's last great opposition leader has been buried, but his widow's words ring, "I will not be silent," and nor should we. For to remain silent is to accept that poison is an acceptable tool of government and that tyranny is allowed to win in darkness. Navalny's legacy demands otherwise.